In a world dominated by materialism and the constant distractions of daily life, there is ancient wisdom that few know, but for those who discover it, it reveals secrets about the very nature of existence and the universe. This tradition is known as Rosicrucianism, a spiritual journey that transcends reason and the tangible, inviting us to explore the depths of the soul and the cosmos. Rosicrucianism is, first and foremost, an esoteric path. It is not a religion, but a spiritual philosophy that seeks the truth beyond what is obvious to the eye. Its roots plunge into ancient mysticism, into ideas passed down from generation to generation, veiled by symbolism, metaphors, and secret rituals. Since its first appearance in the early 17th century, this tradition has challenged curious minds, offering a glimpse of a connected universe, where the spiritual and the material continuously intertwine. But what makes Rosicrucianism such an intriguing tradition? For those who dare to delve into its teachings, it offers a promise of transformation, spiritual elevation, and ultimately enlightenment. Instead of mere beliefs or dogmas, Rosicrucianism invites us to walk an inner path, where self-knowledge is the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. The emergence of Rosicrucianism on the European scene in the 17th century was marked by a profound mystery, as if this tradition emerged from the shadows at a time of great upheaval. It was a period of transition, a confrontation between the old and the new. The Renaissance had brought new light to human knowledge, while the Protestant Reformation challenged the religious institutions of the time. Science was beginning to take root in rational thought, questioning what had once been accepted as absolute truth. And amidst this backdrop of change and uncertainty, the Rosicrucian manifestos appeared, offering a new path, a bridge between ancient spirituality and emerging rationalism. What makes the emergence of Rosicrucianism so unique is that it did not present itself as an open doctrine to the public but rather as a call to those ready to listen, to those seeking something beyond the surface. Its texts such as the Fama Fraternitatis and the Confessio Fraternitatis appeared anonymously, generating speculation and curiosity across Europe. They were manifestos that promised the revelation of hidden truths, but at the same time veiled their meanings with metaphors and symbols. To many, it seemed that a secret brotherhood with immense spiritual and intellectual power was behind these messages. Indeed, the cultural impact of Rosicrucianism was felt immediately. In a Europe beginning to divide between Enlightenment rationalism and religious traditions, Rosicrucianism offered an alternative, a way to reconnect man with the mysteries of the universe without abandoning the search for scientific truth. It did not reject rational knowledge but complemented it with a deeper spiritual vision. This placed it in direct contrast with the emerging Enlightenment thought, which saw reason as the primary path to knowledge. For the Rosicrucians, true knowledge was that which united reason and intuition, science and mysticism, body and soul. Thus, while the Enlightenment sought illumination through the light of reason, Rosicrucianism spoke of an inner light, a hidden light that could only be accessed through spiritual transformation. While many viewed this tradition with suspicion, fearing its secrets, others embraced it as a means to reach higher knowledge, a way to connect with universal truths. At the heart of Rosicrucianism lies a fundamental concept that distinguishes this tradition from many other spiritual currents: spiritual alchemy. While traditional alchemy sought the transmutation of metals into gold, Rosicrucian spiritual alchemy proposes an inner journey, where the true gold to be found is not material but spiritual. It is the transformation of the soul, the elevation of the spirit to a purer and more refined state of consciousness. Spiritual alchemy is not about experiments in laboratories, but about practices aimed at inner transformation. In Rosicrucianism, this search for gold is a symbolic process, where the human being is the raw material that must be purified, refined, and ultimately transmuted. The philosopher's stone, so sought after by traditional alchemists, is seen here as a symbol of the final state of enlightenment, where the mind and spirit align perfectly with cosmic truths. This transformation is a deep and often painful process. Rosicrucianism teaches that just as lead must be burned and refined to become gold, our soul must also go through trials and purifications. It is in moments of crisis, doubt, and deep introspection that we can burn away the impurities of the ego and illusions, making space for higher consciousness. In Rosicrucian practices, this spiritual alchemy is often represented by rituals of symbolic death and rebirth. The seeker is invited to die to their old identities, false beliefs, and attachments that prevent them from seeing the truth. And by going through this process, They are reborn as an enlightened being, able to see beyond appearances and connect with the divine within themselves. This spiritual rebirth is the true treasure of Rosicrucian alchemy. The philosopher's stone in this context is not something found outside of us. It is a state of being in which we become capable of transforming our inner reality. When the seeker reaches this stage, they can transmute difficulties into wisdom, challenges into growth, and matter into spirit. They become an inner alchemist, capable of turning the lead of their human experiences into spiritual gold. One of the most enigmatic and fascinating figures in the Rosicrucian tradition is Christian Rosencreutz, a character shrouded in mystery and symbolism. The legend of Rosencreutz tells the story of a man who, after traveling to the East in search of wisdom, returns to Europe and founds the mysterious Rosicrucian order, a secret brotherhood dedicated to the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and the transformation of humanity. But who or what was Christian Rosencreutz really? Did he exist as a physical person, or is he just a symbol of something greater and deeper? For many scholars and practitioners, Christian Rosencreutz is more than a historical individual. He is an archetype of the spiritual seeker. His journey to the East, where he learned the secrets of occult sciences and mystical wisdom, is a metaphor for the inner journey that each of us must undertake. The East, in this sense, represents the hidden side of consciousness, the place where the deepest spiritual truths are found. Upon returning, Rosencreutz brings not just knowledge, but the experience of complete transformation, which he then shares with the world through the creation of the Rosicrucian order. The figure of Rosencreutz also represents the ideal of the Renaissance man, someone who seeks to unite science and spirituality, reason and mysticism. He embodies the aspiration to integrate material and spiritual knowledge, showing that true wisdom comes from this union. Thus, Rosencreutz becomes a symbol of the human being who seeks to transcend their limitations and find the greater truth that unites all things. However, the mystery of Christian Rosencreutz is not limited to his figure. The Rosicrucian manifestos, especially the Fama Fraternitatis, describe the discovery of his tomb, 120 years after his death, in a secret chamber filled with esoteric symbols and hidden treasures. The description of this discovery was surrounded by deep symbolism, suggesting that Rosencreutz's body had not decayed, as if he were in a state of preserved perfection. Again, this should not be read literally, but as a metaphor for the idea that true spiritual wisdom is immortal and untouched by time. Rosencreutz's tomb is, in fact, a symbol of our own inner world, where the treasure of wisdom lies hidden, waiting to be discovered by those willing to follow the path of spiritual transformation. In addition to Christian Rosencreutz, other influential figures helped shape Rosicrucianism and disseminate its teachings, albeit in a veiled way. Among them, Johannes Valentinus Andreae stands out, whom many believe was the true author of the Rosicrucian manifestos. Andrea was a German theologian and scholar who, despite his role in the Rosicrucian movement, maintained a certain public distance from mysticism, perhaps out of fear of political and religious repercussions at the time. Another important name is Sir Francis Bacon, the English philosopher and scientist, whom many also believe played an influential role in the development of the Rosicrucian tradition. Bacon, with his scientific approach and his search for universal truth, embodies the Rosicrucian ideal of uniting science and spirituality, reason and mysticism. These figures, real or symbolic, helped establish the foundation of a tradition that continues to fascinate and inspire seekers to this day. And while Rosicrucianism is shrouded in mysteries and symbolism, its essence remains clear. It is a path of seeking truth, spiritual transformation, and union with the divine. Rosicrucianism, although rooted in the past, remains profoundly relevant in the modern age. In a world saturated with information where materialism often overshadows deeper spiritual concerns, Rosicrucian teachings offer a unique perspective, that true wisdom and enlightenment are not found outside, but within ourselves. They remind us that while modern society focuses on external achievements, true human progress occurs in the realm of consciousness and the soul. The central ideas of Rosicrucianism, such as the interconnectedness of the universe and the quest for inner transformation, resonate deeply with the contemporary search for meaning amidst the complexity of modern life. In a world where many feel disconnected from themselves and the cosmos, Rosicrucianism offers a way to re-establish this connection, emphasizing that we are part of a vast web of life and energy, and that the universe is in constant dialogue with us, waiting for us to awaken to this reality. Today, we can see the influence of Rosicrucian teachings in many modern esoteric and spiritual movements. Theosophy, for example, which developed in the late 19th century, shares many similarities with Rosicrucianism in its quest for unity between science, religion, and philosophy. Movements like the Golden Dawn, which influenced much of modern occultism, also incorporate Rosicrucian elements into their rituals and symbolism. Even New Thought, a movement that emphasizes the power of the mind and personal spirituality, reflects Rosicrucian principles of self-transformation and connection with the inner divine. But what does this mean for us in the context of the modern world? How can we apply these ancient teachings in our daily lives? The answer lies in constant practice and reflection. Rosicrucianism invites us to look beyond daily distractions and seek moments of silence and introspection, where we can access the divine within. This can be done through practices like meditation, which allows us to connect with our essence and attune to spiritual truths that lie beyond the intellect. In the modern world, constant stress and noise can pull us away from this inner search, but Rosicrucianism reminds us that it is possible to cultivate peace and spiritual balance even amidst chaos. Through simple practices like daily contemplation or creating a sacred space in our homes, we can reconnect with the subtler energies of the universe and find clarity in the midst of difficulties. This doesn't mean escaping the world or isolating oneself, but rather bringing the light of spiritual consciousness to every aspect of our lives. Rosicrucian practices, adapted to modern reality, can help us cultivate a more conscious presence and transform our perception of reality. The search for truth is not an external journey, but a deep dive into our being. It is through this dive that we can begin to transform not only ourselves but also the world around us. What Rosicrucianism teaches us is that by transforming the inner, we inevitably transform the outer. Although Rosicrucianism has its own characteristics, it is not isolated from other esoteric traditions that also sought to understand the divine and the mysteries of existence. In fact, Rosicrucianism shares many points of convergence with currents such as Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Gnosticism, all of which explore the universe as an expression of hidden spiritual truths, veiled to the common eye but accessible to those willing to transcend superficial reality. Hermeticism, for example, with its roots in ancient Egypt and Greece, is based on teachings attributed to the legendary Hermes Trismegistus, a figure who, like Christian Rosencreutz, symbolizes the archetype of the spiritual master. The Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, reflects the Rosicrucian view that the microcosm, the human being, mirrors the macrocosm, the universe. Both Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism teach that the universe is governed by spiritual laws, and by understanding these laws, the seeker can achieve enlightenment and union with the divine. For both traditions, the key to knowledge lies in looking within and finding the reflection of the cosmos in one's own soul. Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical tradition, also deeply dialogues with Rosicrucianism. The Tree of Life, the central symbol of Kabbalah, represents the different levels of consciousness and spheres of existence, connecting the physical to the spiritual world. Similarly, Rosicrucianism uses symbols and metaphors to guide the adept through different stages of enlightenment. Both systems see the universe as an emanation of the divine and believe that the spiritual path is a journey of ascension through increasingly subtle levels of understanding and union with God. Gnosticism, which flourished in the early centuries of Christianity, also shares with Rosicrucianism the quest for hidden truth and the belief that the material world is but a shadow of a higher spiritual reality. The Gnostics believed that knowledge, gnosis, was the key to freeing the soul from the limitations of the body and the physical world. Similarly, Rosicrucianism views enlightenment as a process of releasing the lower self, a spiritual rebirth that allows the seeker to see beyond the illusions of matter and reconnect with the divine source. What differentiates Rosicrucianism from these traditions is its unique fusion of esoteric Christianity with ancient wisdom. While Rosicrucianism embraces the cosmology and mystical wisdom of older traditions, it also incorporates elements of Christianity, interpreting them through an esoteric lens. For the Rosicrucians, Christ is not just a historical figure but a symbol of the process of spiritual transformation, the archetype of the enlightened being who transcended the duality of the physical and spiritual worlds. This fusion of Christianity and ancient wisdom allows Rosicrucianism to create a new philosophy of personal and divine transformation, in which the seeker is called to follow in the footsteps of Christ, not in a dogmatic sense, but as a model of spiritual evolution. The crucifixion and resurrection of Christ in this context are seen as metaphors for the process of ego death and spiritual rebirth, a central theme in the Rosicrucian path. These comparisons show that while Rosicrucianism is unique, it is deeply rooted in a broader esoteric tradition that transcends religions and cultures. It fits into a stream of thought that views the human being as a reflection of the universe and believes that the key to enlightenment lies in transcending the limitations of mind and body to access hidden spiritual truths. Rosicrucianism's impact on Western esoteric tradition is not limited to its own practices and teachings. It directly influenced several other mystical orders and fraternities, with Freemasonry being one of the most well-known. Although each of these orders has its particularities, Rosicrucian symbols and teachings intertwined with many of them, especially during the 18th and 19th centuries when both Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism flourished in Europe. In Freemasonry, we can clearly see how Rosicrucian principles and symbols were incorporated. The central idea of Rosicrucianism, the pursuit of enlightenment through self-transformation, resonates deeply with Masonic teachings. Both movements use construction symbols, such as the compass and the square, to represent man's journey towards spiritual and moral perfection. The compass, for instance, is a symbol of spiritual wisdom, the ability to draw perfect circles. That is, to achieve inner harmony and spiritual perfection. The square, on the other hand, symbolizes justice, righteousness, and a life aligned with divine laws. These construction symbols that appear in both Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism refer to the idea that the human being is essentially a builder of their own soul. Both movements teach that the spiritual journey is a lifelong work, where every act, thought, and choice contributes to building an inner temple, the temple of the enlightened soul. For the Rosicrucian seeker, as well as for the Freemason, enlightenment is not something that happens passively, but is the result of conscious and dedicated work to refine the mind, heart, and spirit. In addition to Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism left a profound mark on later esoteric orders, such as the Golden Dawn, a secret society that flourished in the late 19th century and influenced much of modern occultism. The Golden Dawn was formed by members of Freemasonry and other esoteric orders who sought to combine Rosicrucian, Hermetic, and Kabbalistic teachings into a cohesive system of spiritual initiation. The rituals, symbols, and teachings of the Golden Dawn echo Rosicrucian principles of inner transformation, union with the divine, and spiritual ascent through understanding the hidden mysteries. Other esoteric orders, such as the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor and the Societas Rosicruciana in Anglia, also drew inspiration from Rosicrucian teachings. These societies sought to preserve and transmit the esoteric knowledge of antiquity and saw in Rosicrucianism a continuation of this tradition. The Rosicrucians, with their emphasis on personal transformation and the pursuit of hidden knowledge, provided the philosophical and symbolic foundation for many of these organizations. Rosicrucianism's legacy not only influenced esoteric orders but also left its mark on Western culture in general. Many ideas that we consider part of modern esotericism, such as the belief in the interconnectedness of all things, the idea that the human being can transform their internal and external reality, and the notion that there are hidden spiritual truths waiting to be discovered, were, in large part, popularized by the Rosicrucian tradition. Its influence continues to resonate in contemporary spiritual movements, in esoteric practices, and even in movements like New Thought and the New Age. What these influences show us is that while Rosicrucianism was initially a tradition that operated in the shadows and anonymity, it ended up shaping a vast part of Western esotericism. Its impact was profound, and its teachings on self-transformation, spiritual enlightenment, and the pursuit of hidden knowledge continue to inspire and guide seekers today. One of the greatest challenges that Rosicrucianism has faced over the centuries is the veil of secrecy and mystery surrounding it, something that, while preserving the depth of its teachings, also opens space for misinterpretations and superficialities. From its inception, Rosicrucianism chose anonymity and concealment as a way to protect its principles and ensure that only true seekers could access its mysteries. However, this secrecy also led to confusion and misunderstanding, with many misinterpreting the movement, seeing it either as a secret conspiracy or as a closed sect. This veil of secrecy served as a natural filter, separating those truly committed to the journey of self-knowledge and transformation from those seeking easy answers or sensationalism. Rosicrucian teachings were not meant to be absorbed literally or superficially. On the contrary, they are rooted in metaphors, symbols, and practices that require deep reflection and introspection. As in any esoteric tradition, Wisdom is not just in the words but in the spaces between them. It is something that must be slowly unraveled through direct and personal experience. However, the danger of superficiality continues to exist. In the information age, where any content can be quickly accessed, there is a risk that profound esoteric teachings, like those of Rosicrucianism, will be interpreted literally or distorted. This can lead to dogmatism or the belief that Rosicrucian symbols have power on their own when, in fact, they are tools for awakening consciousness. The true essence of Rosicrucianism lies in inner practice, in spiritual alchemy, not in external rituals or magical formulas. This is why spiritual discernment is essential for those approaching this tradition. The true Rosicrucian seeker knows that symbols, rituals, and manifestos are portals to a deeper truth and that wisdom can only be accessed by those willing to walk the path of personal transformation. The risk of getting lost in the details or seeking the secret for its own sake is real, and the only way to avoid this is to remain focused on what truly matters: awakening consciousness and purifying the spirit. In the modern world, where the search for quick answers and instant solutions has become almost a norm, it is even more crucial to preserve the original spirit of Rosicrucianism. This means resisting the temptation to simplify or vulgarize its teachings and instead honoring the complexity and depth of this tradition. The true Rosicrucian treasure is not something that can be given or transmitted directly. It is a journey of discovery that each must walk on their own. Preserving the living essence of Rosicrucianism today means cultivating patience, humility, and a genuine desire for transformation. The Rosicrucian path is not for those seeking power or spiritual status but for those willing to face their own shadow, to cross the deserts of doubt, and to pass through the fire of inner purification. The secret of Rosicrucianism, if there is one, does not lie in formulas or rituals but in the journey of self-discovery and the relentless search for inner truth. For those willing to embark on this journey, Rosicrucianism offers a path that, while mysterious and challenging, leads to a deep connection with the divine and a broader understanding of the universe and oneself. The Rosicrucian journey is not a path with a defined end but a continuous quest for enlightenment and self-knowledge. At the end of this philosophical and spiritual exploration, we are reminded that the true secret of Rosicrucianism is not a secret in the conventional sense. It is not something that can be read in a book or transmitted from one person to another. The secret is the journey itself, the constant process of transformation, self-knowledge, and alignment with the divine. Rosicrucianism teaches us that the universe is alive, pulsing with energy that connects everything and everyone. It is a reminder that what we seek outside is actually within us. Every symbol, every ritual, every teaching is a mirror reflecting the most important quest of all: the search for our true essence. Rosicrucian alchemy, with its mysteries and metaphors, is a metaphor for life itself, where spiritual gold, wisdom, inner peace, enlightenment can only be found by refining our own soul. And in this quest, we discover that the material and the spiritual are not separate. Rosicrucianism shows us that the physical and spiritual worlds are two sides of the same coin. Everything we do, think, and feel here on the material plane reverberates in the cosmos. Thus, the Rosicrucian journey is not just an inner voyage. It transforms how we see and interact with the world around us. It is a complete transformation where the human being learns to see divinity in all things. For the true seeker, the Rosicrucian journey continues. There is no final point, only a continuous expansion of consciousness and understanding. With each step, each reflection, new doors open, new mysteries are revealed. And this is the beauty of the path, the constant discovery that there is always more to learn, more to understand, more to awaken within us. Are you ready to walk this path? Are you willing to look within and find the divine that dwells in your own soul? This is the question Rosicrucianism asks us. And the answer is not in words but in the choice each of us makes every day, to live consciously, to seek the truth, and to transform into who we truly are. The Rosicrucian journey is one of self-knowledge, spiritual elevation, and profound connection with the universe. And as we follow this path, we discover that the true secret is not in the stars or the symbols but within ourselves. Each of us carries the potential for enlightenment, the potential to transform the lead of our daily lives into spiritual gold. If you have ever felt the call of the soul to explore these mysteries, or if these teachings resonated with you in some way, share your reflections and experiences in the comments. By creating this exchange, we strengthen the collective journey in search of self-knowledge and spiritual transformation. And if you wish to continue this exploration, Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Together, we can uncover more secrets of the universe, always with an open heart and a mind focused on what lies beyond the visible.